when in these sessions, I actually did want to cover not just Facebook. I know a lot of us are in Facebook, but I also did want to cover social ads in general. And because there's so many different social ad networks, I really do want to encourage you just to submit your questions as often as you want, like inside of Pro League as well. And if I actually don't know the answer, I'll either find the answer or I might even bring a surprise guest or two to these maybe to just give us some more insight. So, I just don't want you to feel like it's just all about Facebook. But let me dive in. What I wanted to cover today was I wanted to talk a little bit about how to rescue your social ads campaigns. I'll use Facebook as an example, but I think you can actually use this for any type of social media, advertising. And in fact, I've even used the same approach like biohacking my health. So I pretty much use the same approach in terms of just how can I fix something, that, needs to be turned around. So I'm just going to share with you my approach and some examples. And then there's actually 2 questions that I saved that was from Slack, which I will answer, and then also opening it up to any other questions as well. And I will also touch on TikTok as well, as Roel has requested. So I do requests. um, so basically, like my approach when I'm taking a look at a campaign, and again, let's just use Facebook as an example, is I think, first of all, it starts with your mindset. And I know that a lot of people fall into this trap of attaching some sort of emotion or opinion to your campaign. So before you even dive in to start fixing things and changing things, try and and when I say emotion, I don't mean that you feel like so emotionally attached to something, but I think sometimes we bring, maybe it's more like a bias. We take a look, we are putting up an ad and we might think, oh, I don't think that's actually going to work. So if you can actually remove that, that's actually going to help you a lot, because I have found when I'm auditing accounts or coaching or consulting, and even I catch myself with this as well, is because I might just unconsciously bring a bias to copy or creative that I immediately dismiss it. And then I don't even try it. And then later on, when somebody finally convinces me to try it, it works. I'm thinking, oh, why didn't I do this before? One of our guardians in AdSkills, Jordan Swanson, what he does actually is he even numbers everything so that his media buyers don't even get attached to like a name, like this is like blonde woman in front of a computer. Instead, it's just a number. So they're literally just looking at numbers of creatives. So that's just something I wanted to touch on, because I see that happen over and over and over again. And a lot of times our campaigns are failing just because of the bias that we're bringing to it. So if you set that aside, the way that I approach it, and I will share my screen here in a moment, but the way I approach it is I just start at the top and work down. Or, I'm thinking, what's the first thing we need to fix, and just work down, instead of looking at everything and thinking, oh, it sucks, right? I just pick one audience and one campaign. I said, let's try fixing this first by taking micro steps, because the micro steps will actually build up and cumulatively work for you at the end of the day. So let me show you what I mean by this. And I just made a really, really simple diagram here. And let me just actually go. Let me see if I can hear. So what I mean is I like to start at the top and then go deeper. And then I do this for each audience, like especially for something like Facebook. Different audiences, they just behave differently. And, even if you actually take the same audience and create the same campaign, but in a different ad account with Facebook, it can even behave differently there too. So it's just, that's one of the frustrations with Facebook. But I have trained myself to be disciplined about approaching things from the top down. It's not sexy, but when you grind it out, at the end of the day, I tend to get better results over the long run, rather than just trying a whole bunch of different things and getting discouraged and just, trying a bunch of other things with another audience and nothing really seems to work. So the first level, so the top level before we're getting very deeper, is we're basically, what do you want? In any social ads network, you want people to literally just stop and look at your ad. If everything after that is like the best copy, the best creative, the best landing page in the history of the world, but if nobody's looking at it, then it may as well not exist, right? So the first thing I want to do is I want to take a look at how well am I doing the stop and pay attention to me, right? Because in social media ads, you do need to remember that we're interrupting people. We're interrupting people's days of looking at pictures of like kids and cats and, I don't know, memes and things like that, right? So you want to say, how well is this doing the stop and pay attention? Because that's one thing I look at first. And you want to find the metric that will tell you that. So in Facebook, if you take a look at the metrics, they have 2 click-through rates. That's in one of their default reports. So one says CTR bracket all and one says CTR link. For this one here, I just tend to look at CTR all, and because that gives you an idea of how well you're actually making people stop, look at it, and click through to interact with the ad. That CTR all is just a combination of like all the click through to that ad and people just interacting with it in some way. So that one, I try and get over 2%, and this is just for Facebook. I'm just doing that as an example. You need to see what it's like in every, network. Like for example, LinkedIn, I'm really, really happy with a 1 to 2% click-through rate sometimes, right? Because it's just different on LinkedIn. But on Facebook, I really want to get a good one. In fact, like I'll even aim for like 5-10%. I think my record is something like 25%. But this is the first thing I look at. And for this, I'm testing creative. I'm testing, I'll, if it's not working, like if this is just too low, then I'll try different images, different videos. We can go into a deep dive with creatives another time if you want to, but I also categorize the creative as well. Like basically, I'm testing, I want to try faces, I want to try inanimate objects, and I want to try abstract design. So I'll try those different categories to get a better feel of what might work, and then just start trying all different ones within those categories until I fix this level first. Then once I fix this level, then I'll go to the next level and I'll keep the winning creative because I know, okay, I can make people stop. Now let's take a look. What else is wrong with this campaign? Well, are they actually clicking through to the landing page? So, and like if this is a video views campaign or whatever your objective is, replace it with that objective. But, I want to say like, look, are they actually clicking through? Because maybe I'm getting them to stop, but they're not clicking through. And by the way, sometimes you do have to be careful with your creative that you're not making it too like clickbaity. So like, for example, I had one campaign where I thought it was really clever because it had the name of a tiger in the product, and I put this really cool picture of like a tiger, and I got like a ton of people. It got a really good click-through rate. All like people were stopping, but nobody was signing up. Nobody was really clicking through because people were they just thought the picture was really cool. So the picture actually did it a disservice by not being relevant enough to the ad. So that's just something you want to think about when you're doing the creative. But here, yeah, like, are they clicking through? And so I'll just start with fixing headlines and buttons first, because I've just found in my experience that if I can change a headline, then that can actually change the ad. And I want quick wins, right? So, and also I'm a bit lazy. And if I don't have to rewrite all the description again, and all I have to do is like change a button or change a headline, I'll do that first, right? So I will, so I'll generate a whole bunch of different headlines and I'll try those. Again, this is just, when things aren't going well, you have to try something different. You don't want to keep doing the same thing over and over again, right? And so you can use whatever it is, like if you want to write them yourself, use a copywriter. I love to test different AIs to generate a whole bunch of different headlines. My 2 favorite right now are Headlime and Jarvis. And Jarvis acquired Headlime actually. But it's just really helpful to get a whole bunch of ideas, put them in there. And then another thing that I do find that I see a lot of people don't try as much as I think they should is literally testing the buttons. Like a lot of time on Facebook, we'll have learn more. What about sign up? What about watch more, subscribe, claim offer? Sometimes you can even try stuff that doesn't even really look like it matches well with what you're offering and just try it. And sometimes you'll be surprised. Like if you can turn around a campaign with just changing a button, then I mean, to me, that's a no-brainer. Like just go for it. And like I said, in any other networks, see if you can change that call to action and just try it, because your campaign's already not working. So you kind of don't have anything more to lose, right? So just try those 2 things first. And then we want to go a bit deeper. After you've gotten a little bit of improvement here, then you want to keep going deeper. Maybe you also need to change the copy in terms of the body, right? Because maybe it's just not, touch it. Maybe you need to get a better angle. Maybe, you need to have more pain points in there. But, that's also where I usually do that last. But again, part of me is also because that's more work to change. So I leave that to the third part here to try and fix everything. And then once you've kind of gone through each of these steps, the fourth step, which is when you go really deeper. So by now, you should probably be getting a good click-through rate all on the ad, and then also good click-through rate on the link. Then I basically bring it all together. It's more like a holistic approach, because you want to see, okay, how is everything working together? Because, it is sort of like a way of you saying, okay, does the creative kind of match with the headline and, and the copy? And then hopefully it also feels holistic once they go over to the landing page. And this too is where you can work on quality. Maybe you are getting people going through, maybe it's a lead gen campaign and you're getting a lot of leads from here, but they're not buying. So that tells you, oh, like maybe I need to work on, a better video, or, maybe I need to work on a better copy here. And this is just when you can get more advanced. And sometimes your click-through rates are going to go down because you're trying to go after higher quality. But when you're rescuing things, I just find it really helpful to start at the top and then start to mash everything together and try different things. And here, I'll give you an example of one where this is like a really old ad, which is no longer running. But just to give you an example of what I would do. So again, this is a first level. Let me take a look at the creative. And, a lot of times I'll leave the thumbnail if it's a video for Facebook to choose, but sometimes I'll go in and I'll choose a thumbnail. If I think that there's like a really compelling picture in the video that I think might work well and I want to test it out, but most of the time I'm just putting automatic, but sometimes I do that. And then the level 2 here, right? That's like this headline here and the button. And by the way, sometimes I'll also, depending on the types of ads that you're running, like I also might test out just the text way at the top here before the more. Like sometimes even just changing the headline up here, like the lead can make a difference. And, if even if you have a video, right, maybe you also want to change the lead on your video. So this could apply for YouTube ads or TikTok or anything like that. So changing the hook right at the top. And then here, when I say level 3, I mean the description. And I'll try long, medium, and short. And then I'll try different angles within each one of those, like story angle, like more direct, and it also depends on your audience, but do try long, medium, and short. And when I mean short, I mean like 1 sentence or 3 sentences for Facebook, because, Facebook really favors, and they're moving more towards favoring less copy. I even have just a retargeting ad that I ended up just testing, and it just said quick reminder. And it's a 5-second video. And that's actually beating out something with like more text and a video with the founder, like explaining everything and why you should go here. And nope, I just have like a picture of I have a 5-second video with a clock and, something really, really short with something here, just like quick reminder. And that's winning. So sometimes you just you never know. And then here is, as I said, when you're just trying to take a look at the whole thing and seeing how they all interact with each other. Do they kind of lead towards each other? Does the copy kind of match with the video? And then basically, once you are able to rescue your ads in this way, where you are then satisfied, hey, you're getting a good click-through rate overall. You're getting a good click-through rate on the link. Your ad is, all parts of it are relevant to the offer. That's when you basically have to hand it off to the landing page people and say, we've done everything we can over here. I mean, what we can do is we can test different audiences, and then you start again with the same approach. But you also have to work with the landing page people too and say, what else, what are you doing? What are you seeing on your end? Because we're doing everything we can here in terms of sending traffic. And then the last tip I would have, when you're working with the landing page optimization team, one thing that I have done, which sounds kind of crazy, but I've done it. I know David Schloss has told me he's done this as well, is we take the winning ad and, just make sure that the picture or the video is the same on the landing page. And you can do that vice versa, by the way. A lot of times I'll take the landing page. If there's a video on the landing page, that's one of the first videos I'm going to test actually in the ad campaign. But I've done this with clients where where, we looked at, hey, what's the top performing ad? And literally just took that image and threw it up either at the top of the page, or like it becomes, the background in the hero image. And conversions on the page increased. So because I think it's because it just feels very holistic, and it just feels like one nice long journey. So that's what I wanted to share with you today, just in terms of how to rest. Because I do find that a lot of times I get those questions both in DMs and also inside of Slack that I see. And I just literally follow this every single time. Sometimes it takes longer to fix stuff. But I can usually just it's almost like through brute force. Like I usually can figure out what we have to tweak in order to get there.